hang on.
The Belleville Area District Library Board of Directors will please come to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the October public meeting of the Belleville Area District Library Board. We have the interesting backdrop here of our historical quilt for Belleville, which is moved into our conference room for a while the local history room is being worked on. So with all that, and with us being able to see ourselves for the first time on our screen, I ask for the roll call. Alma?
Okay. Well, Dawson.
Here.
Jeriga.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Priest.
Here.
Stoudemire.
Here.
Hugh Scruggs. Here. Jehavitz.
Excused absence. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved by Jeriga and supported by
Me.
Dawson that the agenda be approved. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If you're opposed, say no. The ayes are unanimous and the agenda is approved. Now we are to the item 4, which is the approval of the September 14th, 2021 regular meeting minutes, which were distributed to the board members and to the public in advance. I'm hoping that all of you got a chance to look at them, but they are in your packets and you can look at them now.
I motion that we approve the minutes as presented. Second.
It's been moved by Tanya and supported by Linda that we approve the minutes of September 14th. Are there any questions or comments or updates or corrections that anybody has to these minutes before we vote them? I see none, so all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by saying no. There are no dissenting votes. The minutes are approved by unanimous vote. The next item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any public comments? Our one member of the public says no. So we are moving right along. As you will notice, this is a bare bones agenda. We don't have a lot of extra stuff. So we are now at the point of committee reports. We will begin, as we customarily do, with the building committee report. And our ferocious leader of the building committee is unable to be here tonight, and that's Joy. If you don't know about ferocious, my husband always calls Joy joyous, and I believe that's a fitting term. Joy is very joyous and not very ferocious, but she is a wonderful leader of the building committee. We did meet this month, and John and Mary Jane and Mary Jo and I were there. So we will do our best to fill everybody in on what happened in that meeting. So who wants to start?
I can. You can fill in what I
Sure.
forgot.
or didn't write down. So one of the things is the walker display for the gallery wall was delivered, supposed to be installed next week, I think. Is that right?
It wasn't.
It
Oh,
was
it was,
last
okay. Okay, so last week is, no,
Yeah,
this is no next week.
right.
Okay, I got it. And there's, the glass shelves were to be installed next to did that get done?
Not yet.
Okay, so on the first floor where there's the cabinet, there will be glass shelves next to it, for part of the display area. And I haven't seen it yet, but my understanding is that
I think they're waiting for the glass rep to come.
okay, so they haven't displayed anything.
Well, some of
Well,
it is on there. It's
some
The
up-
display case is there.
the
Right,
dis-
But
but
the
nothing's
shelving is
in.
not there yet.
Yeah,
But the-
okay.
But the
that's what it
League
was.
for Women Voters display is
Is
there.
there,
yeah, I see
That
that.
has been
Yeah.
installed.
The window treatments are being designed. We should have info by next week. This is now next week. Do we get info?
I haven't heard.
Okay,
Are you picking up material? Is that what you're doing? Or
The materials have been picked out, but they need to,
they need to
look at,
design them
get
to go with
like
the window
shop drawings from the company,
because of the
technical
Okay.
drawings,
Okay.
because there's a lot of installation work involved. so.
Okay. The curtain wall leak appears to have been taken care of. And the refers to check for possible problem areas with the coping. Because we can't cope with the coping.
I just was.
Yeah, the
it's a
the
good-
roofer repaired a few things that could possibly have caused the leak, so we're hoping.
And we haven't seen any indication of leak since.
Yeah, we haven't had one of those rains again,
Right.
which is fine. I have something wrong mechanical supposed to check.
Hmm,
Oh, I know what it is. Because of the dishwasher thing,
The
the issue with the-
filtrations.
the issue with the dishwasher, they think that possibly that when the water's coming in from the city, that's where there's a buildup of
Sediment.
sludge, sediment, whatever, little, who
That's
knows?
not good.
And it's getting to the dishwasher and stopping it.
So you
We've
need a
had to-
filter?
We've had to replace the part twice already on a very good quality
Right
dishwasher.
on the whole house filter.
But anyway, so that's supposed to be checked on to see if a filter can be put in so that the water's filtered
Mhm.
from there before it even gets into the building.
Yeah, track
The
light.
check for Hennessy for 25,000 was deposited
We have,
from the rebate, refund, whatever,
it
from
was
Hennessy.
the refund of our deposit because they kept some of our deposit for however much work they did, but they refunded the rest of our deposit,
So that was $25,000.
which is good.
Yeah. There's still a problem with the low flow sinks in the first floor women's bathroom. The one on the right, I think, yeah. However, I used one of the other ladies' rooms. I don't know if after our meeting last week or what. And both sinks were low. Low flow.
When Long Mechanical has to do some plumbing with the HVAC project, so when they're on site for that, they're gonna look at all of our other little faucet issues.
Mhm.
The low flow in the faucets might also have to do with sediment, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
Wow, they're not using lake water, are they?
That's not legal.
That's kind of gross. The only other one I had is track
And
lighting in the kids' room.
The project on the roof, there's gonna be condensation from those units, and that has to go someplace. So it's going to be piped. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mary Jo. it's gonna be piped in across the room out here into the quiet study or the quiet room.
The pipe's gonna go behind the wall.
Yeah,
In the quiet study room, down to the first floor janitor's sink.
so,
And is that part of the HVAC
Yeah.
work?
Yeah.
Okay.
so go ahead about the lighting.
The track lighting in the kids' room is still to be installed. We're gonna, you see the track lighting right out here by the Fred C. Fisher portrait. We have a little more of that track lighting that we had acquired in building, and Dean is going to install it in the kids' room. Mary Jo will tell us exactly where, but it will give us a chance to do more displays and highlight things in that area.
Yeah, it's going to go along the wall where the picture books are going into the story time room. We'll be able to display children's art.
It's around the corner as you're entering where it says the Judy Darling Early Childhood Room. It's along the side of that.
Yeah.
So it will enhance what is already a wonderful, wonderful room. And that's all I had. Obviously, you see the HVAC work has already started. There's the plastic up all around the second floor where that's going on. And I think they told us 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks duration for that in the first place. Is that what they're still saying?
Best case scenario is probably 3 weeks if they can get all of the trades to come when they're supposed to.
Okay. Anyway, they have the whole of the last quarter of the year, and we're anticipating it will be finished in that period. Anybody else have any, John?
No.
The bollards, the sealer on the bollards outside has not been done yet.
Okay.
And when I called on you, it made me think of that.
I have nothing to add. I was tardy.
What's the matter? Oh, yeah. You had missed much of the meeting,
That's
so
okay.
you don't.
You're entitled.
Yes. Okey dokey. So are there any questions about the building committee meeting? It was very good.
Did we get everything, Mary Jo?
I think you guys also tweaked the dedication back a little
Oh,
bit.
yes.
that's
Oh,
we
yeah.
We did that
did.
too.
We did.
You want to talk about that?
We did an update.
No?
We're just gonna make sure that we're adding basically everyone who's been on the Belleville District Library Board will be added.
Because a part of the Belleville Area District Library mission that the public adopted in 2010 was to develop a new library. So every board member that has served since that point has done some work toward what we eventually came up with as a new library.
Good gesture.
Yeah.
We talked about the project on the roof. Which
Yeah.
project are you doing?
The HVAC thing.
Oh, that,
okay.
So that's part of this, that the
No.
Okay.
plastic is all out there and part of the
And they-
upstairs.
they've been working hard to try to get here early and leave early so that they're not
I don't have that.
in our way too much.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was here this
Well-
afternoon and they were not
Yeah.
a problem at all.
Style.
I don't know.
There's a member of the public said anything about.
Have we had any complaints about the work?
People are really good about, they're intrepid, they're really good about figuring it out and, yeah.
That's good to know.
Any other questions? Behave yourselves. We are gonna, if there's no other questions, we're gonna go on to the other committee reports. And I think we'll go pretty quickly today. John, anything from bylaws?
I have nothing.
Okay, Tanya, anything?
No report.
Our financial work is standing firm. Alma,
Yes,
we had a meeting.
yeah, we had a meeting on September the 29th. And was a good meeting. We talked about the grand opening, possibly during National Library Week, which is April, I think my writing says, 3rd to the 9th. Okay, and possibly having a donors event at the library prior to the grand opening. And at that time, they'll make speeches and there'll be like a somewhat of a ceremony. And we'll make the determination who's going to speak. And I think it says designating 2 to 3 people to speak.
I think they were kind of looking at the program for the grand opening and having people speak.
Mhm.
Small
Having
parts.
introductions and acknowledgements and a little bit about the library history.
And having some of the children.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
With-
another thing on here that we're talking about having the children be involved in the festivities,
Uh-huh.
and
The
possibly
ceremony.
having the high school jazz band.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool.
that would be really cool.
And possibly doing like a strolling buffet, having it catered, of course.
This is a donor reception or
Yeah.
the?
The donor reception.
You're talking about the donor reception now, not the grand opening. With the jazz
Well-
band and the strolling.
The strolling food thing was the donor thing,
The donor,
but we were gonna have something, I think,
something
like
for
cookies
the,
or whatever.
Yeah, for
like
the,
refreshments for the
for the grand
grand
opening.
opening. And talking about, we discussed we just mentioned inviting some of the government personnel to also participate with this as well. And someone asked how many plaques were on the donor wall, and I think Mary Jo said 39.
I think that's what I counted.
And we discussed possibly doing a printed program, for the event as well. And we talked about acknowledging the Friends of the Library as well.
Well, we should.
Right. Yeah. And set up a book for people to sign as they, come in, and also, not as they come in, but sign up to get library cards. Those that don't have library cards, it's probably a good time to push that effort.
Right.
Will we be inviting the lady in charge of Library of Congress this time?
Oh, we had
Yeah,
talked
we could-
about that.
It doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could try.
Yeah.
We had been, I think we had reached out. I know I had sent a
Yeah.
letter to our congressional representative, to Congresswoman Dingle about that before COVID came around. And so we hopefully, maybe we could do this now that we're going in 2022. It might be more possibility that we could bring in somebody
She's the first librarian ever in charge of Library of Congress.
of the library.
I think that is
Congress.
just so fun.
I think it's so
And of
cool.
course, it's a woman.
Has
Yeah.
anybody ever been there? Because it's just amazing.
Yeah, it is an amazing place.
Incredible.
But she was in Michigan, over in Taylor, in Congresswoman Dingle's district, and our staff person, Kenya Yarborough, went and talked with her, but she also took her daughters, and her daughter got invited to the Library of Congress, and I think they
Oh,
went.
wow.
I think
Yeah,
they
that's
went to,
great.
when they went to Washington, I think she was able to go cash in on that, so
Yeah,
this,
nice.
we already have an in.
That'd be such a
I
great
think
thing.
it's Naima who was the one that struck up a friendship with,
We'll have to ask her.
she worked
Pave
her
the way.
charm.
Or she
right.
probably has her cell number.
She probably,
Oh, there you go.
they're probably texting buddy.
And they're
Um,
friends on Facebook.
yeah, yes, Lord.
And the time capsule was brought up again, so no decisions were made as far as, whether we're gonna move forward with that or not. So I'm sure it's something. we'll
One of the things that
revisit.
came up during that was Mary Jo suggested possibly in this display case when we get shelves in it, for that particular event, to put the things that are going in the capsule on a shelf for display. Because out of everybody that was in the meeting that day, Lindsay was the only one who would be here when it got open. And she said, and she'd probably be coming in with a walker. But I think that is sort of cool
Yeah.
to, if we're gonna do that, is to have it displayed so the
Mhm.
people
Can see.
that are here in the present will know what the people in the future get to.
That's a
see.
good way to
Yeah.
put it.
And then we
Even though
pointed
we'll
out,
all be here.
we pointed out where it was, but a lot of us didn't know where it was gonna be.
Isn't it gonna be right
Yeah.
over here?
Which is
somewhere?
why
Yeah.
I said to Lindsay, you have to remember, you have to be here.
Somebody has to know. Yeah.
Find it. Write it down somewhere where it is.
That's the biggest thing, we can never find
Like
it.
a big X.
I was not present at your meeting, but it would be possible on the large screen downstairs over the desk to show the process of building this structure.
We did
Because
talk
I've got
about that.
hundreds of
Yeah.
pictures. I was here every day.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And I'm sure Dan was too. And we could
Mhm.
share that, and I'm sure there's
We'd,
other.
we'd like to also maybe get some pictures blown up to put on the art display wall potentially,
Good.
Oh, that would be good for
In the
that time.
entry.
You were here every day?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That Mary
His wife
Jane.
says sometimes
That
twice a
Mary
day.
Jane.
I
She told
learned,
me.
I learned a lot.
You did.
You did, and you shared a lot
Yes.
of what you learned. I was also not able to be at that meeting, but I did send an email with my 2 cents. And it sounds like you talked about my 2 cents and a whole lot of other cents. So
We did.
it sounds like you have covered a whole lot, and we'll just keep, when is the next meeting? We're gonna have to keep working on this because we're looking at having things, the donor event in March and
So the next
opening
meeting
in
is
in
tentative,
April.
is scheduled for October the 27th at 3 p.m.
Okay,
Make sure I have it in my calendar.
so that's, we have to do the planning. And the only other thing I wanted to add, when Alma said about when we have what Mary Jo calls the speechifying, when we have the ceremony and people talk, instead of having any 1 or 2 talking heads up there a lot, we'd like to change people along.
Right.
So prepare, there'll be something for everyone there, and perhaps all the members of the board might have a little part in that. We all have, it's just been a wonderful experience, so I think it would be good for the community to see how well all of us have been involved in, whatever our roles are. We're gonna have to make sure though, and especially me, I'm saying this for myself, that we don't kind of ramble on, that we have a tight script. So all of us stick to what we're supposed to talk about.
It's too bad that my brother Gordon died,
Yes, it is.
because when he knew he was dying, and he was planning his wake and his funeral and everything, and he gave everybody who was gonna be involved,
A script.
no, he didn't give him a script. He gave him a time limit. And he gave him a topic.
Oh,
A topic.
Coffee points, huh?
Yes, thank goodness. COVID hadn't happened by then, because he would have been furious to find out that nobody could come to his funeral.
Yeah. That, we'll have to plan as though we are your brother Gordon,
Gordon.
the one, you had a brother Judd too.
No, that's the last name.
Oh,
That's
same
her
guy,
It's her maiden.
Richard,
same
Ralph,
guy.
Gordon, and Tom.
Okay.
What others?
Yeah, but I only knew 3 of them. One died of, one still works.
And you?
And you were the only girl?
No, I had two older sisters.
Mm.
One sister died at birth. The first two kids that my parents had, one was stillborn and one died 2 days later.
Mm.
But then my sister, who was a year older than Gordon, they were Irish twins.
Mm.
She passed away after a car bicycle accident.
Oh, no, that's a lot.
There's
of-
only two of us left.
That's a lot
Oh,
of
wow.
trauma for your parents to have undergone at an early age. This meeting, I don't know if this is gonna go into the newspaper or the minutes, but this is disturbing. I'm worrying about Mary Jane's parents. Bless their souls.
That happened quite a bit.
Yeah, that
then,
people
and
lost.
That's why people had so many kids.
Yeah, my mother lost a
I
sibling
did too.
before
My
she was
oldest
born.
sister died too,
Is that
for
right?
3 months.
Mm.
We'll put that in the paper.
Let's cover it.
Okay.
Well, that's,
And Randy's too, by the way.
that's
Just to put a cap on it.
just to let us all know how bad it could get. The marketing committee, we're still on the marketing committee, and it's all right for us to have a robust discussion because we should. This is gonna be great fun. We're laughing, Mary Jo and I kind of bring it up almost every time I'm here. I don't know what we would have done if we had gone the way we were supposed to and COVID hadn't happened. Because we were supposed to do all this last July and June, and we're barely getting ourselves together, having
Mhm,
had all this
2020.
time. So, anyway, I think I hope and pray that by spring of next year, we'll be even less likely to be wearing masks.
COVID will be a bad memory. hopefully.
Oh, God, I hope so. But anyway, we can hope.
Mhm.
And that will conclude my report, like you said, unless there's some additional
Discussion.
conversation.
Well, we appreciate your presentation and everybody's input, and I am interested. Anybody who hasn't said anything have something to say? Is that your
I'll pay
phone?
attention. I turned it off.
And I will take a departure from our usual. Rosemary, do you have anything to say about the opening, the grand opening of the already opened library?
No, except I'm looking forward to it and I plan to have a lot of pictures.
Good. Good. Well, you have helped us along with a lot of pictures all the way through. So great, that was a great report, and it's also a great thing for us to look forward to. Something to keep us busy now that we have the building put together.
Yeah, Mary Jo doesn't have enough to do.
Right, Mary Jo's just sitting around twiddling her thumbs.
She's just up on the roof watching the bees.
I had to scold her the other day. She was here from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 at night,
Oh, my
running
gosh.
through the whole thing.
Well, there are days like
I
that.
said, go home and feed your cat at least.
Well, now we'll get back to the rest of our committee reports, which I think will go pretty fast. Item E is a personnel committee, Linda.
No, report at this time.
Item F is a policy committee, Mary Jane.
The only thing I have to say is the little signs are up for the where you can eat, what, where.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, yeah, and that was the last policy we had. And I'm drinking a covered drink right here in this room.
That's enacted by staff, right? They see someone not observing the area. Okay.
It's working out pretty well.
Have we had any trouble? Good.
No fried chicken.
Pizza. Anyway, the last item is the art committee for all of us to report on, but we have not had an art committee meeting since our last meeting, I don't think. So I don't think we have any report on that either. We do have an art committee meeting coming up this month though, right?
I think so. I need to check with Michelle.
Okay. I think that's what she said, but I'm not sure. Okay, so that takes care of our, committee, all our reports.
So you'll email us.
Yeah, I'll check with Michelle and see. Over there.
So, item 7 is our accounts payable. We're moving right along through our agenda. Your accounts payable were included in your packet. And we will entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll make that motion to approve the accounts payable as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Dawson and supported by Stoudemire that the Belleville Area District Library accounts payable sheet be approved. It's basically our costs of operation. I don't see anything on here that's unusual. Kind of interesting to look at it because you see some of our programming things.
I did want to ask about one item.
Okay.
I noticed that we purchased additional hotspots. Are
Mhm.
those available to the public?
Those are available to the public. They've become very popular.
I bet.
And I think we're taking a couple of them down to the branch to have available for checkout there as well.
How many do we have?
Now we have 10.
That's cool.
That's very good. Has it worked out? Has there been any problems or any abuses?
It's worked out.
Great.
It's worked out.
I think that's a
Yeah.
great service.
So how long can someone have them for?
I think it's 3 days. And it shuts off, the server shuts off
Oh,
when it's time to return the hotspot.
So
we
no,
haven't-
there's
we
no
haven't-
sense in keeping
Yeah,
one.
yeah, so we haven't had anyone
What do they
disputing
look
them,
like?
so. They're just these little devices. I can show you one.
Okay,
I
I'm just
have-
curious.
I have one that we use up north.
Explain what it does.
It gives you a wireless signal so that you can run your laptops or internet service. They're very popular when the power goes out and people's internet, goes out at home.
It basically acts as Wi-Fi,
I
Yeah,
have one in my car. It's just in the
okay.
car.
but it's not a
No, but it's
jetpack.
it's a hot spot.
Well, these are, they call jet packs, and they're little things, they're almost like the size of a cell phone, maybe a little thicker. And you keep it charged up and and you have to, it shows up when in your Wi-Fi availability, it'll show up and you have to put in whatever
And you
you're.
pay for the service.
Yeah, I pay,
A certain amount.
yeah.
Okay.
Because we have a place up north where there isn't Wi-Fi.
But it works good.
But it works. It keeps me being able to do stuff. Unfortunately, it didn't exist when I was working, when I was, before, and I had a terrible time finding places where I could work, but now I can work in my home when I'm there. I had a friend up there who worked all summer using a hotspot. She was able to work from home, whatever job she had, she worked all summer. So hotspots are a great opportunity, especially for places where Wi-Fi availability is spotty.
Or if you're traveling to
If
a
you're
hotel,
Right.
or,
Right.
some of those places want to charge you a lot of money.
Right.
Every day.
And
$25.
also, some of those public Wi-Fi are dangerous for your, for your machine. You don't want to plug into every darn body that every place you go. So, yeah, having your own private one. When I was working, I used it a lot because I had to drive around the state and do stuff. And so I would just if I had to take my laptop, I'd take that. So I know I could get a signal.
And
So.
And
Go
you
ahead.
said that up at the Sumter, they're checking them
We're
out.
gonna, we're gonna make, well, we just got them, so
Okay.
we're gonna make them available down there too.
That'll really be very cool. And the Wi-Fi, we did the updates a few months ago, both in this building, but certainly down there. And has Wi-Fi been available to people in the parking lot down
Yeah.
there? Great, so people who, for their phones or whatever, if they don't have good Wi-Fi at home, they can, even if we're not open, they can drive over to the library and park near our building. And they can do that here. right? Yeah. So that's a good, that right there is a real good
It's a game changer.
service for the community, and it shows, the people who are saying libraries are out of date because people don't use books. Well, libraries are more needed because people use Wi-Fi and don't understand it. So there's people like me who need their library. So that takes care of that item. And now we approve, did we vote? We did not vote yet. We have a motion and a support. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay. The ayes have it with no dissenting votes. Now I can go ahead to our director's report, which is always my favorite part of our meetings.
Harvest Fest was an amazing success.
Oh, yes.
The
it
weather was fantastic. And I appreciate any of you who volunteered that day. I appreciate your help. You probably were actually getting a little bit too hot outside.
It was the bees. Or the
The
yellow
the yellow
jackets.
jackets, yeah.
There
We did have an
were.
issue with the yellow jackets, a little bit
Yes,
too warm, so they were
Just for the apples.
kind of active. So we moved the apples and the butter
Yeah, when that went away.
turning
they were-
inside,
it was-
yeah.
Well,
So
we
People
still.
were blaming your bees up
Yeah,
there.
it
I'm
wasn't,
sure
it
they
wasn't
Wasn't the
were.
bees,
that.
it was the yellow jackets, that's right.
And nothing to do with the Italian guys upstairs.
Yeah.
I sure, yeah, I worried, but we had a little bit with the kids making their corn necklaces.
Oh, they still came
Every
in?
now and then they
Oh,
were coming.
There were a lot of
I had
them.
one little girl, she had
Yeah.
such fun making her necklace, and then all of a sudden she started to be just, crying all the time, and her mother said some bug had gotten her. and
Oh,
They
yeah.
call everything bees. It's
Yeah.
not- It wasn't.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, we had good attendance and I think everybody had a really good time. So, and a lot of people were exploring the library. Our children's department was very well used that day too.
Mhm.
So it worked out really well. The Futures Club, the Belleville Future Club program that we had a couple of weeks ago, hosted a couple of weeks ago, here was very well attended. I think we had about 46 people attend that. And it was really cool. They had the autonomous car parked in front of the building.
Mm.
So it felt very,
Oh, yeah. There were a ton of people in
Yeah.
there for that.
Will they be having another event?
so they're planning on having more events. So I haven't heard yet what, but
There were a lot of young people that came for that.
yeah. We did say goodbye to one of our part-time youth services librarians. She took a full-time position at a different library. And rather than replacing that part-time position, we opted to promote one of our other part-time librarians to full-time. So Karen Dumpke is now a full-time librarian here. So we're very happy to have her here.
She does baby
So the baby story
time.
times.
She is a librarian.
She's a librarian, yeah.
Okay.
And she actually grew up in Belleville. She remembers the old library, so she's originally a hometown girl. We also welcome Marissa Lassoff Santos, who accepted our part-time adult services position. This was a position that was vacated last July, and so we had advertised and interviewed and all of that, and so she began last week. The Friends of the Library, if you notice the pop-up tent that we had at Harvest Fest, the Friends of the Library purchased that for us. And also the banners, we have one banner, a banner with the new library logo for the library, and the one with the Friends logo for the Friends of the Library.
Good. Was that being stored in John's garage?
So
And the advertising on that tent said that one person could put it up, but it took 5 of us. So. Maybe next time we'll do
Yeah.
better.
so far, we had 21,000 visitors this year.
Yep.
And 67,000 books checked out.
Yeah, check out lots of books.
Wow.
So,
Well, that's our business.
yeah, people, that's our business. Yep, so I'm glad to see that. No, we're being very well used. All of the group study rooms are in use, meeting rooms.
I hear
and-
people from Taylor, Canton and Romulus are coming back.
Mhm.
I hear a lot at the gym, people from Romulus said, it was a great library. You know,
It's nice
they're
to
really
hear.
impressed.
I
So-
had a lady talking to me today about how she likes to come over here, prefers this library.
We have new people too,
Mhm.
the family with 4 children, they've never been there.
Okay.
New to the area, and they said how wonderful it was. Great. I was really happy with
Yeah.
that. And I think they'll be back a lot.
And the highest testament to our library ever is when a little child is leaving the library crying, being dragged out of here because they don't want to go. And that just happened before I came up to this meeting, so I was like, oh. He's like, I don't want to go.
Definitely doing something right.
Yep. So, I did include an article about possible book shortages due to issues with
Amazing. Art.
supply chain issues and paper.
Wow.
So,
Paper, ink,
yeah,
truck drivers,
yeah,
all the above.
right. So, we'll just keep monitoring it. Nothing we can really do about it.
We did say books are not perishable, so it's pretty good as far as
Yeah.
being stuck on a dock somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, they
So
can
that's
sit
one
in
thing,
the-
that's,
Right.
yeah, as long as they're wrapped.
Right,
As long
as
they're
long as
wrapped,
they don't
yes.
get
Wet.
I just love all these flyers. I think it makes me know how creative our staff is. All these
A lot
comments.
going on.
Yeah. So Homegrown Knowledge this Thursday is Cam Comics. He's one of our own library assistants. He's a comic book author and he's going to be doing the presentation. So please join us if you're free that evening.
Homemade bread, what's that?
Then we have a cook the book group that meets and they share their recipes from various cookbooks.
They meeting in person.
They're meeting in person now.
So they're cooking in person.
No, they
Well,
don't.
they're
They
bringing,
cook at
they're
home.
bringing what they.
Oh, they're bringing in
They have
samples.
they have a choice of a couple of cookbooks that they can pick each month. And then they can bring in a sample recipe. So,
So how many are in that group, do you know, offhand?
I will have to ask Teresa. I want to say about 10.
That's good.
And they meet in what room?
Sometimes downstairs, sometimes up in this room. I think the past couple of times I've done up here.
Yeah, before the HVAC work started, has the local history room been used at all for
Mhm.
meetings? Okay.
Well, for meetings, no, but it's been,
But people
Yeah.
have gone in there to use it, but it hasn't.
it's kind of our escape valve for if we accidentally double book something, we know we have another room.
Except for now, this is the cable out here that goes in. there.
Yes, yeah, right now.
What's the process of checking out a room like this room or?
You can fill out an application we have the application online, you can call up. And we can check room availability
At no cost whatsoever.
and there's no cost.
Or you could come in here and talk to, they do it
Come in
at
person.
the circ desk.
Yeah, you can ask at the CERT desk. Carol is in charge of the reservations, so.
Wonderful.
So I,
Well, as I said, it's always one of the best parts of our meetings, because now that we have all these programs going, it's great fun. So we are only at what time? 8:17, and we're ready to start trustee comments. I think we'll start with Linda.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed myself on Saturday and so did Randy. We loved, working with the little kids, making the Indian corn necklaces and explaining Indian corn 500 times what it is, but it was very fun and I enjoyed it.
But you're a teacher, you're used to
I'm used to it, but not for a while. Been retired a while. So, but it was a great day. I think. And, luckily, we got to have it outside.
Yep.
So I think
Was
that's
great.
everything.
Alma, my dear, make you multitask.
Okay, yeah, sorry I wasn't able to attend the Harvest Fest. I went out of town and got a chance to spend some time with my 90-year-old uncle. So that
Oh,
was,
nice.
How cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's really good.
It works out Monday. He told me his schedule Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are his workout days. And he goes to the gym every week.
Wow,
Yeah,
You, John.
yeah.
so you had to work yourself around his schedule.
So that was good, but I'm just really excited that we're able to do more, and hopefully things will continue to open as far as the COVID restrictions, and we can plan our event or move forward with our plans for next year. The library.
Tanya?
So, just looking at all of the events that we have going inside the library, I think is really great, you know, and I'm hoping that people realize that all of these activities are going on. I see there's like Saturday events for young children, so hopefully we're reaching out to the schools just to make sure they're aware of all of these activities that we have. So it's great to see though that we're doing these things again. And we have the space for it.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm, it is great. John?
Oh, I was at a wedding in Charlevoix this weekend, so I missed it. I usually volunteer with the museum. That's one of the sore spots I have right now. The museum's going through a terrible time with Katie being unemployed and them totally closing off the museum where we can't even get in there and get stuff. So, and changing all the locks. So, yeah, it's.
Did they do anything there for Harvest Fest?
I think Tom Fielder did.
They did the corn shucking
did corn shucking
Oh.
and apple something.
And the
Okay.
nickel dig.
and the nickel dig.
Yeah, Tom said they had a good time. So,
Oh, good. I saw people on the front lawn.
yeah.
Under the tree.
Yeah.
Under the very important, beautiful tree.
Yeah.
Am
I guess
missing
through
something here?
with the help of the newspaper, it gave them a lot, Van Buren Township, a hard time, and people were calling for the phone number, thank you. And they reneged, they said, well, you can use the museum and get the stuff out of the museum. In the past, they said, no, you can't take anything out for the rest of the year, so.
And they also said they couldn't step on the grounds.
Yeah.
And then they had a special meeting
Ooh, that's
on
good.
Thursday that said that, yes, they
township.
could step on the ground.
See, my concern at this point is Davenport Construction is gonna start joining those two buildings, and obviously they're gonna have to knock part of the wall down, and we've got antiques and stuff on the other side of that wall. And if they don't move them, they're gonna be compromised. So
I'm sure they're gonna.
It's-
And we can, as a member of the public, I voiced concern.
Yes,
I think all of us, those, especially the ones of us who live in Van Buren Township, it's some concerns we could voice on behalf of, I was told that the library, that there would be, and I think this was in the paper, there's supposed to be public engagement while they're in this hiatus, where they're closed. They're going to engage the public to make decisions about what they do. And I said that on behalf of our library, we, being the neighbors, we would very much like to be involved in that engagement. And I was told that, yes, we would be.
So a couple weeks, oh, I'm sorry. were you
No,
done?
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say at the Sumter meeting tonight, which was not complete by the time I came, but it's recorded. But anyway, they said, somebody asked about the museum, that they heard that it was closing, and their deputy supervisor, administrator, said that she called Kevin about it, and he said that that hasn't been decided yet.
they really don't know, do they?
No,
I don't
and that
think
they
they
would
do.
have
Everything's up
a
in the air.
meeting for everybody.
You ask them questions and they don't know.
But how can they even think of closing?
The
a
city of
museum?
Belleville is paying $10,000 a year for the museum.
So is
Sumter is also paying
Mhm.
$10,000, and Van Buren's making all the decisions. And we, the museum, got $25,000 in our personal account. And so what's going on here? You know, just, and what do we do with thousands of pieces of historical documents in the building? A lot of them are personal on loan, like I've got a lot of stuff, Tom does
So do
too,
I.
on loan, yeah. And what are they gonna do? They really don't know.
the Sumter supervisor said that they should take all their Sumter artifacts out of there and house them in Sumter. They should be in Sumter anyway. And so
Yeah.
there's gonna be all kinds of turmoil.
Well,
There
one
is already.
hopes that this, and I, you know, the library is legitimately one of the big partners, but also, as you just noted, the other municipal entities have a say in it, so one hopes that this public engagement really occurs, and maybe we can even move forward in terms of really the bond between the museum and the library, I hope.
The plan was to make this a community center.
Right,
This area.
it's supposed to be a
With the-
civic
With
hub,
the square. and all
the
that,
civic hub, so that the cultural
Yeah,
hub
yeah.
of this area with the museum.
Maybe they don't know that.
Wow.
Is it my turn yet?
I don't know if John
Done,
is
John.
finished.
Okay, so there was one thing I wanted to say about the museum. Well, two, I think it should stay open. But my second thing is, so a few weeks ago, John told us at a building committee meeting that they were gonna cut the trees down in front of the museum, those nice big shady trees where people sit on the walls. So the day after that, we had stopped at the bank and I'm sitting in the car waiting for Rick to get some money. And I looked over and here's this guy. It was one of these warm days, you know, that we've had. Thank God. Anyway, he's sitting there and he's eating a sandwich sitting on that wall under a tree. So I took a picture of him, sent it to Kevin. Oh my gosh. And I said, see, people do use this. These trees are valuable community resource. Of course, I never heard from him.
He didn't write you back.
He didn't. Okay, so that's enough about the museum for now. I had an interesting light bulb go on over my head in the middle of making the necklaces on Saturday. There was a guy, a big burly guy. He came up with this with his daughter, and he said, "So, honey, you want to make a necklace?" And she said, "Yeah." And she said, "Are those beads?" I said, "No, it's called Indian corn." And then I looked up at him and I said, "Okay, not politically correct to say that, but." And so he helped her, you know, he fastened it and everything. He was really cool. He said, "No problem." Okay. Then, you know, we got so used to saying this is Indian corn and you can find it in the grocery store and they're
Right.
usually tied around
So
with
we
a
did
rubber
too.
band.
Yeah.
So I had this little girl that came up and she had a mask on. Too bad she did, because I would have loved to have seen her whole face when I said, she said, "What are we doing here?" And I said, "Well, we can make bracelets or necklaces out of Indian corn." And her eyes went like this. She was Indian,
Oh, wow.
or it could have been Pakistani, but
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Asian Indian.
yes.
Asian Indian. And I looked, you know, she looked at me with this,
Yeah.
and I said, you know, Native Americans.
Mhm.
Corn.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can I still make one?
Oh, that's funny. That's cute.
Well, that's a really good story.
Yeah.
And that leads, one, I have two things to talk about today. One is the Harvest Fest, and it was the board activity was doing these Indian cooking, which I want to thank Joy, who's right here in abstention, because Joy was the one that, didn't she soften up that corn and bring all
She did a
that
lot.
over
She was a
here?
dynamo that
Joy
day.
did a whole lot. She always does. She works on Harvest Fest every year. And so we were able to, I learned quite a bit and I had a lot of fun. I was there during the afternoon and I worked a little bit with Randy, but I worked along with Mary Jane and Debbie Green came over. And we had a great time doing those and we all learned stuff. And it was a great time to engage with the public. It was just a fabulous event. So I really enjoyed that. But also the second thing I want to report is about today. I just had the most lovely, fun, perfect day at the library. I came in this afternoon only because I was supposed to help sign 3 checks, which obviously doesn't take long, but I was supposed to get that. But I spent time talking to our library executive leaders about library things, mostly, but also just because they're so wonderful to talk to. And then, after I did that for a while, I did my walking around the library, which is the greatest thing to do. It makes me feel so good and so proud of it. And when I got up here, especially, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There were so many kids
Yeah.
in the teen room, in the individual study rooms. There were some of the individual study rooms where young people who were really, working on something. Then there would be 2 in a couple of them, and they were using the whiteboards to illustrate whatever it was they were working on. And they were just using the library the way it should be used, even with our plastic up. It was just humming along just the way we always envisioned it. And there were even young people out on the terrace. A couple were sitting out there talking, and then a few were sitting at the tables around there. So I talked the whole time I'm in here. Well, some lady came and talked to me. She was talking even louder than I talk. And she was talking about how wonderful the library is. So that was all good. But I went into the teen room and Terrell was on staff. And I said, I felt so good. And I was walking around wearing my, Muscle Up Buttercup shirt, which I have on now. Tara told me I should keep it on and wear it to the boardroom because I told her it made me feel so strong and mighty for the work that we have all done and what the result is with this community. I really feel that we've all muscled up, Buttercup, and I got the least muscles of anybody in the whole community. So it's totally a joke, but just to come down here, and then I sat down in the downstairs and picked up my New York Times and actually read the New York Times today, which used to be the only thing I liked to do in the library before, when we were in the old one, before I had to come over here and try and work on new library stuff every day. So it was just a lovely, and it was a pretty day, and it was just a lovely time to know that anytime you come out of your house, you can just have a great time right in your own very library, and people come up and talk to you. And so that's what I have to say. And now it is only 8:30, John.
Okay. And yes, we should be proud.
Yes.
We should, good job. Madam Chair, I make a motion that this meeting be adjourned.
I'll second that motion.
It has been moved and supported that this meeting be adjourned, and we can't even debate it, so.
Are you allowed to do